my main philosophy in life, and this will get to virtually human, which is just kind of, I believe, just like the ancient Chinese traditional medicine specialists, they detected that there were meridians in the body that moved energy up and down the body and through the body, and acupuncture, for example, taps into those meridians. So I also believe that there are meridians to humanity and society. And a lot of this was also identified, speaking, from coming from a religious perspective and finding Jesus, by Teilhard de Chardin, who was a Jesuit, amazing individual, just extraordinary courage. He was a stretcher bearer in World War I because he was a conscientious objector to violence, but he was drafted into World War I, and so conscientious objectors were made to be stretcher bearers, which, when you're climbing out of a trench to gather people before, and not get shot at by the people from the other trench, not too many of those stretcher bearers really survived, but miraculously he did. And he went on to realize that what everybody was talking about when they were talking about Jesus, okay, everybody was really talking about merging everybody and the universe into oneness, okay, and that evolution was just another way of saying Christianity. Of course, he eventually became a Jesuit, and he also was on the team that discovered the Peking man. He was an anthropologist. But the point of it all is to say that he had the courage to stand up and say that, Jesus isn't this kind of literary biblical figure. Jesus is the oneness of all of us, and we will all merge into Jesus through technology and through unifying our minds. You are part and parcel of this wave of humanity. Every wave, is it the crest of the wave, or, is it the trough of the wave? Well, it's both. There is no wave without the trough and the crest, And so in so many different ways, Alan Watts shows how, like, we can be two things at the same time. And to think that, like, your identity ends at your skin is illusory. The truth of the matter is your identity extends far beyond your skin. Every single day you wake up different than you were the day before. It's just a fact. There is like a trend line, okay, but a trend line is not all the data. There is a trend line that you can plot, and your mind file is that trend line that's plotted. Then the next person that I was beginning to get like an understanding of what consciousness really was from Alan Watts and Teilhard de Chardin. And then my mind was just totally blown by Ray Kurzweil. And it's so funny because I had his book, The Singularity is Near, and I had the book even before that, called The Age of Spiritual Machines, sitting like in front of me for like 2 years, to tell you the truth. Why write this book on Virtually Human? And I feel very, very strongly that it is a unnecessary and horrible waste for beautifully conscious beings to just kind of, poof out simply because, like, their hardware has a limited lifetime, as all machines do if you don't replace the parts, of them. So I began to like delve like really deeply into, how is it that our consciousness can transcend our bodies? And beautiful people like those who I know must have given you a helping hand along the way. Certainly, like, my grandparents who immigrated here in the bottoms of ships, washing things because that's all that they could afford to do, and got here, so that all of that beautiful energy can continue. And so I realized that we are so lucky to be alive right now in a time of digital information, when we can digitize the information that makes up the kind of central core of beings, if you will, the meridians flows of the beings, and that we can in fact operationalize this with, what I call mindware or operating system software to allow all of those memories to be activated the same way that they would, and ultimately even transition, if they wished, into physical instantiations. So it was that quest for really saving all of the beautiful consciousnesses that there are everywhere that led me on the pathway to do the research and writing that was behind Virtually Human.